Hi, third grade. Today we are doing ordering fractions. So we're putting them in order of the greatest and the least, either least to greatest, greatest to least. So what I want to look at is sixths and thirds. So if we have 3/3, okay, and 6/6, what do we remember when we have the same numerator as denominator? We have one whole, right? There it is. 3/3 and 6/6 equals one whole. Okay, whenever the numerator and the denominator are the same, that means we have one whole. Okay, so even if it's a circle, which I do have some circles to show you about. Okay, so if it were a circle, it would be one whole. And if we had thirds, we would need three parts, wouldn't we? We would need 1, 2, and where's the other one? 3. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, all three out of 3 makes one whole, right? Same thing, okay? So we know this much. Now what we're doing now is showing the relationship between the fractions. Now it's kind of like comparing the fractions was in the last lesson. See, if you look at this, you can see, we know from multiplication and addition, the relationship between 3 and 6, right? Half of 6 is 3, right? 6 divided by 3 is 2. That's halves, right? So if I take one of these thirds, I need 2 of the sixths to equal it, right? And if I had 2/3, I would need 4/6 to make an equivalent fraction. Remember that? And if I had 6/6, I would need 3/3 to make equivalent fractions. And there you can see it right there, right? So what we're doing in this lesson is we're going to compare a little bit, but we're also going to put them in order. So the first thing we have to do is read our problem. So let's read our problem together on page 394. Okay, it says, Peggy, let's get a focus right on there. Peggy cut 3 lengths of ribbon, which were 2/3 yard, 3/6 yard, and 5/6 of a yard, okay? Which was the longest length? Now, if you look at them right there, you can see with your eyes what's the longest length, right? The bottom one is the longest length right here, okay? And then this is the shortest length, so they would go short, longer, longest. Okay, to find the longest and shortest lengths, first compare the fractions and then order them from greatest to least. Okay, so we're going to make them from greatest to least. So here we have, down in step 1, we have shade 2 equal parts of a fraction strip that shows 2/3. Now that sheet that I gave you, you can cut those out and use those, color them in the way you want. They're using orange and blue. You can use whatever colors you like. We have 1/3, 2/3 colored in. We're not using the 3/3, right? Step 2, we shade 3 equal parts and 5 equal parts of the sixths. So we have sixths here. We have 1, 2, 3/6 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you look at the sixths, you can see what is a larger piece. Obviously 5/6 because it has more parts of the same length. Okay, we only have 3 of them here. Now we have 6, so it's bigger. Place your fraction models one below each other. So we have this one, then we have this one, and then we have the longest one. And then when we come over to the next page, it's easy enough for you. It has compare your fractions. 1/3, 2/3, right? 3/6 or 5/6. Which fraction is the greatest? 5/6. Obviously, we can see it by eyeball. Which fraction is the least? 3/6. Okay, because it's less than 2/3. We need 4/6 to get 2/3. So we have 3 of them, so we can see that it's less. So it goes 5/6, 3/6, and then write the fraction in order from greatest to least. 5/6, 2/3, and then 3/6. It would go bottom, top, middle. That would be the littlest, right? It's easy to see with your eyeballs, right? So in here, we're going to write each I don't have the answers there, which is good. Write in order from least to greatest. Use fraction strips to help. So we have 7/10, 4/10, and 8/10. Now, when you look at these, the denominators are all the same. So that makes it easy, doesn't it? Right, because the more parts you have of the same size, which is tenths, the greater the amount you have. So what would be first? These are going to go from least to greatest. The least would be 4, then 7, and then 8. That's easy because they're all tenths. Okay, 4/10, 7/10, 8/10. But number 2 is a little harder. Okay, so let's look at 2. We have eighths and fourths. Now, first I like to think, what is the relationship between fourths and eighths? So if we go back to our page here, we have fourths and eighths. I need 2/8 to equal 1/4. Why is that, students? Think to yourself, why is that? Why do I need 2/8 to equal 1/4? Because of the relationship between 4 and 8. I need 2 4s to get 1/8. So if we're cut into fourths and eighths, I need 2/8 to equal 1/4. That's an equivalent, okay? These are equivalent fractions. So if I have, the question is 1/4, 5/8. Now I have 5 of these 8 pieces, so let's put 5 of them there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's pretty clear to see that if I have 1/4 and I have 5/8, which is larger? Right, if my ribbon was cut into 5/8, it would be larger than 1/4. So we know that 1/4 is less than 5/8. But this asks me if I can have 7/8. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/8. Now we can see that that's even greater. So what would be number 2's answer from least to greatest? It would be what? 1/4. Let's go back to our book. 1/4. Then what would come next? Right? 5/8 and then 7/8, because 7 is more than 5, and these are both eighths. And 1/4, we can already see here that 1/4 equals 2/8. So we know that this is greater. Okay, so that's how you do that. I want you to do the rest on your own, and then we will check the answers tomorrow. And if you have any questions, please specifically let me know what your questions are. Just remember, as we go along this, we're not going to do every lesson in Chapter 12. We're going to do most of them, and then we're going to do a couple from 13, and then I'm going to have a test between Chapter 12 and 13 on Friday, June 5th. Okay, that's going to be the last test for math class, and then you'll have Mrs. Easton's final exam for going to 4th grade the following week. So pay attention if you don't understand some of this, or for the homework, when I give you the answers to the homework, if you don't understand it, please ask a specific question, okay? Just don't say, I don't get it. That's not going to help, okay? I can't really deal with that. I need to deal with, I don't understand something specific, okay? All right, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.